Hello everyone, my name is Tess Rise and here are 100 Little Big Planet facts that you might not have known about. Number 1. The robot helmet costume from the wilderness has a big red light on the front of it. But did you know that there's also a blue light on the other side? This can usually only be seen when rotating Sackboy to place a sticker on him, so it's gone largely unnoticed. Number 2. Most, if not all, of the objects that are found throughout the story levels are practically indestructible, which can be seen by trying to crush something. Instead of being destroyed, the two objects just end up clipping inside of each other. This property is lost when copying these levels to use in Create mode. Number 3. Although it's very subtle, the extra hair that Sackboy grows while wearing the Monkey King crown has dynamic physics, where, like some other hairstyles, it moves around when traveling through the air. This can be seen more easily by going close up and moving Sackboy's head around. Number 4. The cowboy bandana costume and the Toro scarf costume both use models that are identical to each other. Their positioning is slightly different, but both the layout and the number of polygons are exactly the same. Number 5. Despite being the longest level in the game, with a variety of enemies, obstacles and bubbles, it's possible to complete the mines without increasing the score at all. Doing this, however, requires precise movement and multiple players to pull off. Number 6. Even though he never says anything, Sackboy has a voice actor, Kenneth Young, who also composed many of the tracks from the game. His vocal effects can be heard when Sackboy is attempting to halt or retry. Number 7. The dinosaur sock puppet costume from the Metropolis is rigged so that its mouth can open and close when Sackboy moves his fingers. Number 8. Every single multiplayer challenge found throughout the story, such as the 2x and 4x areas, can all be completed while only using a single controller. It is impossible to do this with only one Sack person, but multiple can be spawned into a level at once by simply switching controller numbers. Number 9. There's a graphical error contained within a few hands costumes, such as the wooden sword and the fairy wand, where the stitching on the hands that Sackboy is using to hold it will seemingly vanish. This happens because, secretly, the entire hands model is actually being replaced with a new version that's included in the costume, and for some reason, the stitching was removed from some of the costume's new hands models. Number 10. The darkness uses the blank background instead of the wedding theme. This might seem strange at first, but by applying the wedding background to the level in Create mode, we can see that it actually takes away from the darkness effect since a lot of the background elements become visible. Number 11. In speedrunning, the Meerkat Kingdom is the shortest level including minigames, with a time of 4.4 seconds. The next shortest level is Jetpack Tunnel, which takes an extra 5 frames to finish. Number 12. Out of any story level, Boomtown contains the most prizes by far, with a total of 80 coming from prize bubbles. The next 4 levels with the most are all in the 60s. Number 13. Instead of playing the usual death animation, if you attempt to hold to retry while also dying from electricity, Sackboy uses a different animation that's meant to be seen after the normal death plays out. Number 14. Because the scoreboard's invisible barriers extend to all 3 layers regardless of how thick it actually is, you can float in the air after finishing Skate to Victory by simply dropping down to the front layer. A similar thing can be done in the Collector's Lair, where you can even be electrocuted. Number 15. If a death occurs at the right time in the darkness, the level can be completely soft-locked. It's not completely known why this happens, but for some reason, riding on the Collector's ship and then dying sometimes causes him to fall back down, disabling the elevators. Number 16. The cross and circle buttons on the pod computer are set up to move just like the analog sticks are. By looking at the model for the controller, rigging can be found for both of these buttons, despite never moving in-game. Number 17. It's possible to jump off objects that are in a different layer than you, without actually changing layer onto them. This is demonstrated by grabbing something to stop Sackboy from moving layer, and then jumping off an object that's further forward or back. Number 18. The game's story mode, from introduction through to the collector, can be completed in less than 50 minutes without any major glitches. Number 19. By pausing the game during a cutscene and then deciding to import a profile, the black bars from the cutscene will be permanently on screen during all gameplay until the game is reset. Number 20. The Metropolis minigame Elevation contains an early version of the drag race level which can be found out of bounds, including an extra scoreboard, finish line, and various other objects. Number 21. By walking past the scoreboard in the Terrible volcano, an invisible checkpoint can be found in the middle of the airship. Activating and then spawning from this checkpoint allows Sackboy's positioning and movement to become altered, letting you jump higher and slap people from further away. The checkpoint can't be selected or moved from this position at all. Number 22. By activating a new checkpoint within the pod, and then somehow removing that checkpoint, your profile can be completely ruined. As soon as you try to respawn, either by dying or reloading the game, nothing will happen and you'll never see your sack person again. Number 23. While navigating either the moon or the Earth, the planets only rotate horizontally, while the pod moves around them on a vertical track, allowing you to see the roof and the floor of the room by moving to certain spaces. Number 24. Whenever Serpent Shrine starts, Zapatar always throws a timed explosive, which is impossible to see normally, except for the singe marks that appear in the arena sometimes. Number 25. Instead of waiting for the level to complete normally by watching the cutscene, the introduction automatically finishes itself if you make it onto the wall of the final area. It is quite difficult to get that high up though. Number 26. Even though he's well known for being the main villain of LittleBigPlanet, the Collector is never mentioned in the story at all until the end of the Great Magician's Palace, the 5th last level. He does make appearances before this point, but is never actually acknowledged by any character. Number 27. The red key switch that's meant to activate the door and be activated by the soldier in the frozen tundra seemingly doesn't exist within a visual space. The door doesn't have any wires connected to what activates it, but once we look behind the door, we can see the key switch hiding there. Number 28. The giant fireball that chases you at the end of the mines is really just a basketball, which can be seen by extinguishing it in create mode. Number 29. In the darkness, nearly every single checkpoint is bolted onto something or suspended off the ground in some kind of way. However, seemingly by mistake, the second checkpoint in the level is sitting on the ground, despite having a wall behind it that it could have been attached to. Number 30. A relatively forgotten about feature of the game is how Sackboy will lip sync to what you say if you have a microphone connected. However, for some reason, this only works when you're connected to the game servers, despite the system being fully capable of taking mic input even when not connected to PSN at all. Meaning, the lip sync feature is now completely inaccessible through normal means for LBP1 due to the servers being shut down. Number 31. The Magician's box at the end of the temples features an amusing mistake, where after viewing the level in create mode, we can see that the box has a key switch on it attached to a sound effect, which is meant to activate every time that the box hits the ground. But because the range for the sensor was made so small, the sound effect never actually plays. Number 32. The first LittleBigPlanet game is by far the most stable out of the 2 other games in the trilogy. However, a consistent method to crash the game was found by the player Metroberry, where if you open the dialogue to connect to the servers, then switch to a guest to accept the dialogue, the game will completely freeze. Number 33. I'm sure everyone always tried to make it through the door before the Collector closed it in the final level of the game. I know I did. Well, using 2 people, it's actually possible to get just enough speed to barely make it through. Number 34. Some of the emitters that are found in the story mode, such as the block spawner in the Great Magician's Palace, can be activated by failing to sign into PSN or signing out of PSN. Number 35. There are some songs in the game that are never given to the player to be used in create mode, specifically the My Advice tracks. However, it is actually possible to at least see the music player for one of these songs by doing a glitch to reach the level's floor in the Creator Pack DLC. Number 36. After opening certain levels in create mode, you're able to glue objects to the boundaries of the level, where you can then completely move it around and resize it. This usually destroys anything that was already there though. Number 37. The light at the beginning of introduction that follows the player around isn't actually attached to anything, and is also completely immune to pausing the game. Number 38. The mags that's found near the end of Lowrider is probably the most chaotic object found in the story, where, for some reason, her legs go completely crazy if they're grabbed in certain ways. Number 39. Unlike most of the other closed level posts, the one that can be found at the beginning of Wobble Poles has for some reason been made grabbable. Number 40. If a level is completed and then the scoreboard is destroyed, you can go back to playing the level normally while still having the level complete badge. Also, the confetti can be left behind if the scoreboard is removed at the right time, which can be done more than once to fill the entire screen with it. Number 41. Even though they're quite tall and restricted to one layer, the stairs at the beginning of Serpent Shrine can be completely avoided by simply performing a specific fling off the lever before them. Number 42. By doing a few different tricks, it's possible to bring Uncle Jalapeno down to the first minecart within the mines. Then if you place him in the right position and press the button, you can kill him. Number 43. In the frozen tundra, there's a hidden decoration behind the wall at the end, which is also inside of another wall, probably for no reason at all. Number 44. Scoreboards become considerably heavier after being activated, regardless of their size, allowing a tiny scoreboard to be heavier than a larger one if it's activated. Number 45. Although there are various objects that don't work when inside the pod, like music players, the global lighting sensor actually does work, allowing you to get a lot of interesting backgrounds for the pod. Number 46. Another feature that surprisingly works in the pod is water, sort of. Because the pod is so buoyant, it immediately floats upwards, making it hard to access the pod computer. Once you do though, everything acts as normal, but just looks extremely weird. Number 47. In speedrunning, and probably casual play too, the mines is by far the longest out of any level, with the fastest completion still being over a minute slower than the next longest level, the darkness. Number 48. In Boomtown, it's possible to completely avoid the last button in the fireball section by using the 2x area's platform like a trampoline, where it's then also possible to get on top of the dissolve for the last fireball by getting onto one of the buildings before it. Number 49. Throughout the whole story mode, there are 3 more minigames than main levels. Number 50. Like Introduction, the lights at the end of the Terrible Oni's volcano are coming out of nowhere, and are actually attached to one of the blocks of stone as well. Number 51. After looking at Sackboy's model closely, you can find that it's been set up for a zipper to open for some kind of animation, but this feature is never actually used throughout the whole game. Number 52. For an unknown reason, during normal gameplay, the jump sound effect that comes from Sackboy has a small chance to completely stop working, with it only coming back once the level is reset. Number 53. Throughout the whole game, there is not a single costume piece where Sackboy holds something exclusively in his left hand. There are costumes that do use his left hand, such as many of the gloves, but all of these also affect his right hand. Number 54. Out of the 8 main interactive tracks found in the game, half of them make appearances in worlds that they don't belong to. The wedding track plays in Skate to Victory and the Mines, the Canyons plays at the beginning of Lowrider, the Wilderness plays at the end of the Temples, and the Gardens appears at the very end in the Collector. Number 55. By messing around with one of the monkeys in the Savannah in the right way, you're able to have it launch you up to incredible heights, a feature that a lot of players probably haven't utilized. Number 56. When creating a new profile at the beginning of the game, there's a small chance that Sackboy will become corrupted in various ways, one of which involves him developing the ability to light up his face when showing emotions. Number 57. Throughout the whole story, Zola is the one creator-curator who only makes a single appearance across their entire world, where we see them just before the race gate in Swinging Safari. The Collector also only appears in a single wilderness level, but he's still at least seen in various parts of it. Zola is only ever seen in a single spot. Number 58. Officially, the name LittleBigPlanet is spelt without any spaces, with capital letters starting each new word. It has always been spelt this way, and always will be. Number 59. Even after defeating the Collector and chasing him down, the final level of the game can still be softlocked by riding on and in front of the Collector as he's trying to run away. By doing this, there's a chance that he'll get stuck after falling down, stopping the normal ending sequence from playing out and making the level impossible to complete. Number 60. The amount of time that Sackboy spends submerged in water will determine how heavy he breathes once he comes out. Spending a short time underwater lets him get his breath back quickly, and more time makes it take longer. Number 61. The darkness setting for the darkness is set to be way higher than what can normally be achieved, where, after modifying the setting at all, it's impossible to put it back up to where it was before. Number 62. The sound effects for the big croc that eats the buffalo in Burning Forest is actually placed extremely far forward, and nowhere near the usual 3 layers that are typically used. Number 63. Of the 26 story levels in the game, 8 of them don't contain a key at all, but 7 of them contain 2, meaning at least a few of them probably could have been distributed differently. Number 64. In Serpent Shrine, an extra gate for the serpents can be found beneath the level, as well as an unused camera with an unchanged view, but a massive range to the right of it. Number 65. 5 out of the 8 worlds in the game begin with their starting level being set during the day, and the ending level taking place at night, which is more than half of them, the only exceptions being the Canyons, Metropolis, and Wilderness. Number 66. The scoreboard found at the end of the Wilderness minigame, Spline Rider, can be disconnected from its base by doing a glitch involving a respawn. Number 67. The Ninja Star section in Sensei's Lost Castle features many red key switches that are for some reason colored a deep pink. They act like any other red key switch, but they look pink instead. Number 68. By zooming out in the bunker, we can see quite clearly that the 2 rototubes that you go through are actually meant to be the wheels for a giant tank, with the cannon that's used to get the prizes also being a part of it. Number 69. A similar thing is seen in the first wheel section of Sensei's Lost Castle, where the decoration at the back is shaped like a large dragon, with 2 of the wheels also being a pair of eyes, and another one having the dragon's arms on it. Number 70. Although it's impossible to see during normal gameplay, The race gate found in the frozen tundra actually sticks out an extra layer, since even when you're flying in create mode, you're still able to run into it. Number 71. Even though the controls no longer work for it, the airship's thrusters at the beginning of Dancer's Court are still connected to wires, activated by a red key switch found out of bounds. There's no way to activate it in play mode, but it would still work if you were able to get a red key up here. This might exist because the airship was meant to fly away at some point, or maybe there was no other way to turn off a thruster early in development. Number 72. The same monkey that's able to launch you upwards is for some reason dependent on one of the sponges that's found at the beginning of the buffalo section. Removing it causes the monkey to fall down. Number 73. By going out of bounds in the frozen tundra, you're able to find most of the logic for the 4x area later in the level. Then by moving the blocks around in the right way here, you're able to completely finish the puzzle section for the area without even going near it. Number 74. The Metropolis is the only world in the game whose interactive plays in all 3 of its main levels, with the song being the main track for both Lowrider and Subway, and briefly appearing at the end of the construction site. Every other world uses a non-interactive song exclusively in at least one of its main levels. The Gardens almost counts, it just depends if you want to include Introduction as one of its main levels. Number 75. In various levels, there's a rare sound that can occur seemingly at random. It sounds like this. The noise is believed to be coming from one of the types of bolts due to its springy sound. Number 76. Most of the emitters that are found in the Great Magician's Palace are invisible, even in create mode. Despite this, they can still be edited after finding exactly where they are by using some of the wires. Number 77. Even though they still glow, all of the big red candles found in the wedding reception can't actually burn you at all, even though the regular version of the object is able to. Number 78. Decorations treat gas as a solid material. This can be seen in the wedding reception with the legs of some of the skeletons, or just by placing decorations around that have these kinds of physics yourself. When certain decorations are completely surrounded by gas, they become very chaotic. This is most noticeable with the flowers in Skulldozer. Number 79. The winches that 2 of the clouds are attached to in First Steps appear to be floating after going high enough in the level. This point can't be reached normally, but it's possible to get on top of the clouds. Number 80. Unlike the one in the Terrible Innie's volcano, the invisible checkpoint at the end of Introduction can actually be deleted or copied and used like an ordinary checkpoint in any other level. Number 81. Rather than using a 3D model, many of the connectors, such as springs, winches, and strings, actually use flat textures for the main part of them, while pistons and rods use proper 3D models. Number 82. The boundaries for the water tutorial levels that are found in the Pirates of the Caribbean DLC are completely misaligned, where, after going out of bounds, you can go through some of the walls and floor, or be stopped by them earlier than you're meant to. Number 83. All the way out of bounds on the floor of the Introduction, there's a single piston that doesn't do anything. It's unknown why this is down here, but there's also something similar in the Collector's Lair. Number 84. The actual cause of the fire in the burning forest is never explained in the story, nor is it resolved. The player gets asked to check what's bothering the buffalo, where we quickly learn it was the crocodiles and not the fire. It's then never brought up again once the focus is shifted to the crocs. Maybe it was just the Collector though. Number 85? The Wilderness minigame Spline Rider has a second race gate located pretty much directly underneath the normal one. It can be seen by doing another trick to remove certain collision. Number 86. Out of all of the multiplayer sections found across the game's story mode, only a single one of them is designated for 3 players. The puzzle is found in the bunker, and is actually just an extension of a similar x2 area. Number 87. While it is possible to get an infinite loading screen during online play, it's also possible to get one while playing offline, simply by importing a profile and changing controller numbers at the right time. Although, it only works with certain profiles. Number 88. First Steps and Skulldozer contain the exact same number of prizes, with and without the rewards that come from the scoreboard. These levels also contain the smallest number of prizes for a level, excluding the Collector and Introduction. Number 89. Throughout the story, the Collector appears in exactly 1 level in each world, even the Wilderness. The levels are Skate to Victory, the Meerkat Kingdom, the Darkness, Boomtown, Subway, Endurance Dojo, the Dancer's Court, and the Collector. Number 90. Even with all of the fire and gas, it's possible to completely skip the final minecart of the mines by using a few of the platforms and the fire. Number 91. Sometimes when creating a new profile, a graphical error can appear that covers various objects in black, which can even change when stickers are used. Number 92. For an unknown reason, Sometimes one of the minecarts in the mines will abruptly stop, leading to the following minecart running into the back of you. Number 93. In Boomtown, if you land the rocket car in a specific spot, you are able to then grab the bomb for the next section to completely blow it up, leaving behind the thruster. Number 94. Even though you're supposed to wait until the end to defeat Zapatar, it's possible to catch one of his bombs from the first phase after making it onto the barricade, to then completely destroy him a lot earlier than normal. This does make the level unbeatable though. Number 95. The entire story can be completed while only collecting a single sticker. The only unavoidable one being this mountain at the start of Sensei's Lost Castle. It's even possible to avoid the 2 stickers used to lower the bridge in first steps. Number 96. Rather than using some kind of ore gate for the buffalo that get eaten in Burning Forest, for some reason the level instead uses 3 separate but identical emitters for the 3 different player center ranges in this section. Number 97. Mags' first appearance in Lowrider uses a gigantic magic mouth, which is thankfully invisible in play mode. Every other time though, the magic mouth is much smaller and completely visible. Number 98. When importing a level to the moon, it's possible to delay the main dialogue, where you're then able to enter a regular level to then import it from there instead. Doing this has absolutely no differing effects than what normally happens when importing a level. Number 99. Amazingly, the Metropolis' Lowrider contains the greatest number of unique music tracks featured in a single story level, with a total of 4. The songs being The Canyons, The Metropolis, Disco Untuned, and Rhythm Tracks 07. Number 100. The biggest single move that can be made on the Earth's world map is from Bubble Labyrinth to Roller Castle, where the cursor is able to move to the complete opposite side of the planet in around 0.7 seconds. Considering that, in real life, these 2 locations are about 18,000 kilometers apart, we can work out that the cursor is moving at around 90 million kilometers an hour. If it was a full-scale Earth anyway. And that was 100 facts that you might not have known about LittleBigPlanet. Let me know, how many of these did you already know about, and how many did you not know? And what one did you find the most interesting? I hope that you've learned just as much as I did from all of this. It was pretty fun putting it all together. Thanks for watching.